Have you ever heard a story that just sounds too strange to be true? A story that makes you question everything you thought you knew about love, money, and human nature? Well, get ready because today we're diving into a tale that did just that. It's the story of a young, handsome billionaire who did something no one saw coming. He married a woman decades older than him. The world was stunned, tabloids went crazy, and everyone had an opinion. Was it a publicity stunt? Was he after her hidden fortune? Or could it possibly be true love? Stick around because the truth is far more shocking than anyone could have ever imagined. Our story begins with Alex Sterling, a name synonymous with success. By the age of 28, he had built a tech empire from the ground up. He was the quintessential modern billionaire, brilliant, charismatic, and on the cover of every business magazine. He could have had anyone he wanted, dated models, actresses, or fellow tech moguls. But Alex wasn't interested in the predictable. He was a man who craved substance over sparkle, depth over drama. He'd grown tired of the superficial conversations and transactional relationships that his wealth seemed to attract. He was looking for something real, something genuine. Then he met Eleanor Vance. Eleanor was 78 years old, a retired literature professor with a sharp mind, a quick wit, and eyes that held a lifetime of stories. She had lived a full, vibrant life, traveling the world, authoring several acclaimed books, and mentoring generations of students. She wasn't wealthy by Alex's standards, living comfortably in a charming book-filled home she'd owned for 50 years. Their meeting was pure chance, a shared table at a crowded coffee shop. They started talking, and for Alex it was like the rest of the world faded away. He was captivated by her wisdom, her humor, and her complete lack of interest in his net worth. Their connection was immediate and profound. They spent hours talking about everything from classic literature to quantum physics. Alex found in Eleanor a confidant, a mentor, and a friend unlike any he'd ever had. She saw past the billionaire persona and connected with the curious, slightly lonely young man underneath. He saw past her age and saw a brilliant, beautiful soul. So, when Alex announced their engagement 3 months later, the world was in an uproar. Whispers and accusations flew. The media painted Eleanor as a cunning gold digger and Alex as a fool, or worse, a predator taking advantage of a senior. His own family and friends were horrified, begging him to reconsider. They couldn't understand. How could this be real? But Alex and Eleanor didn't care. They were happy. Their wedding was a small, intimate affair, attended only by a handful of Eleanor's closest friends who had seen the genuine joy in their relationship. For 2 years, they lived in quiet bliss. They traveled, they read, they debated, and they simply enjoyed each other's company. Alex's business continued to thrive, but his true wealth, he often said, was the time he spent with Eleanor. He'd never been happier. The public's fascination eventually cooled, and their unconventional marriage became just another piece of celebrity trivia. But the story was far from over. One morning, Eleanor collapsed. At the hospital, the diagnosis was devastating. A rare, aggressive form of neurological disease. The doctors gave her 6 months at best. The news shattered Alex's world. The woman who had become his everything was slipping away. The media circus reignited with a vengeance. Now the headlines were even crueler. Billionaire's elderly bride nears the end, one read. Will he inherit her secret fortune? Another sneered. The narrative was set. Alex had played the long game, and now he was about to cash in. The public watched, waiting for the inevitable, cynical conclusion to their strange love story. Alex, however, ignored the noise. He poured all his resources, his energy, and his heart into Eleanor's care. He hired the best medical teams in the world, flying in specialists from every corner of the globe. He converted a wing of their home into a state-of-the-art medical facility so she could be comfortable. He rarely left her side, reading to her, talking to her, holding her hand even when she was no longer responsive. He put his billion-dollar company on autopilot, his focus singular, Eleanor. His friends saw his desperation and his unwavering devotion. This wasn't the behavior of a man waiting for an inheritance. This was the behavior of a man desperately trying to save the love of his life. As Eleanor's condition worsened, her moments of clarity became fewer and farther between. During one of these precious moments, she made a request. She asked Alex to bring her lawyer to the house. The world held its breath. This was it. The moment of truth. The press gathered outside their gates, ready to report on the final chapter. Was she cutting him out of the will? Or was she signing everything over to him? The lawyer arrived and spent an hour with Eleanor. When he left, his face was grim and unreadable. The speculation reached a fever pitch. What had just happened in that room? A week later, Eleanor passed away peacefully in her sleep, with Alex holding her hand. The world expected the will reading to be the climax of the drama. But the day came and went with no public announcement. The media was confused. Alex remained in seclusion, grieving. Then, a month after Eleanor's passing, a press conference was called. Not by Alex, but by the Eleanor Vance Foundation, an organization no one had ever heard of. At the conference, Eleanor's lawyer stood at a podium and finally revealed the truth. A truth so stunning it silenced every critic and cynical observer. He explained that Eleanor's will was simple. Her modest home and personal belongings were left to her university's literature department. Her savings were donated to an animal shelter she'd supported for years. And Alex Sterling? He was left with her most prized possession, her personal library of first edition books, and a single handwritten letter. He had not been left a single penny, but that wasn't the shocking part. The real bombshell was the announcement of the Eleanor Vance Foundation for Neurological Research. The foundation's purpose was to fund research into the very disease that had taken her life. And its founding donation, $1 billion. The entire personal fortune of Alex Sterling. The room was stunned into silence. The lawyer went on to explain. This had been their plan all along. When Eleanor was diagnosed, she and Alex made a pact. They knew they couldn't save her, but they decided they could try to save others. Alex had agreed to liquidate his personal assets, his stocks, his properties, his entire share of the company, to create the foundation in her name. The document the lawyer had brought to her on her deathbed wasn't her will. It was the final paperwork for the foundation, which she signed with the last of her strength. Her final act was not one of taking, but of giving on an unimaginable scale. The story was never about money. It was never a scam or a stunt. It was a love story, pure and simple. A love so profound that it transcended age, expectations, and even life itself. Alex had married Eleanor not for what she had, but for who she was. And in the end, he gave up everything he had to honor her memory and continue her legacy of changing the world for the better. He had found his something real, and it had changed him forever. The cynical world that had judged them so harshly was left speechless, forced to confront a truth they could comprehend. That the greatest fortunes are measured in dollars, but in love and legacy. Today, Alex Sterling is no longer a billionaire. He works as the head of the foundation, dedicating his life to the cause they started together. He's found a new kind of wealth, a purpose that money could never buy. Their story serves as a powerful reminder not to judge a book by its cover, and that the most incredible things in life often come in the most unexpected packages. What do you think? It just goes to show you that true love can inspire acts of generosity that can change the world. Thanks for watching, and if you have a story that restored your faith in humanity, share it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more incredible stories. See you next time.